like anybody had a right to expect, a World Series run or even a turnaround like what the Royals have had. But it also didn't need to be wasting a full year of a generational talent. Good morning to you. Good Tuesday morning. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports. This is Daily Shot of Pirates. It comes your way bright and early every weekday. If you're into football and or hockey, I also offer daily shots of Steelers and Penguins in the same place that you found this. Cardinals 4, Pirates 0. I got to find this stat for you. You're not going to believe this. When it comes to shutouts, last night represented the 61st shutout of the Derek Shelton, Andy Haynes hitting regime, according to Josh Scherkel, who sent that my way after the game. That's almost 9% of the total games the Pirates have played under Shelton/Haynes. Almost unbelievable, but not quite. Paul Skenes was terrific again. 6 innings, 1 run, 7 strikeouts. And it doesn't matter because he doesn't get any support, and the Pirates lose no matter what he does because management didn't care enough to even try to make anything of the 2024 season, unless, of course, you count $33 million lit on fire by Ben Cherington in free agency. And if you think I'm exaggerating that, go look at the names. But hey, at least they acquired Brian Dela Cruz at the deadline. Listen, I've been over all this stuff. I'm not going over it again, but I do feel it's fair to remind everyone that this could have been a year in which Skenes wasn't closing out his rookie year pitching in front of empty crowds, including last night at Busch Stadium, with very few Pittsburgh fans seemingly even paying attention from afar, and with the team basically running the clock out. And why wouldn't they if management at both the front office level and field level were running the clock out too, if they feel like they're just assured of coming back? And that's absolutely how Cherington's talking these days. So losing begets losing, lack of support begets lack of support, and somehow, to this kid's credit, he just keeps exuding excellence. He was asked last night in St. Louis by DK Pittsburgh Sports how he's pushing through that.
There's no point in focusing on what you can't control. The only thing you can, pitching is, this is a failure-driven sport, obviously, and you see that more on the offensive side. But you can make a perfect pitch and still, it still get hit hard. Or find a hole or that kind of thing. So, you can't control that. So just got to get back to what you can control.
Nothing surprising about that answer, of course. Certainly nothing surprising about any maturity that Skenes shows. If anything, when it's him and a bunch of grown-ups in the room, he's still the grown-up in the room. And no, he doesn't complain or grumble away from the cameras and microphones. He is legitimately proud and happy to be in the big leagues, respectful of his teammates, respectful of his coaches, respectful of everybody in the process. That's who he is. I don't know how long that'll be who he is, but that's who he is now. Regardless, he can't be taken for granted just because he plays nice. Just because he's not going to be the one to stir the pot and say, man, it sure would be cool if we'd ever win around here, or show some commitment to winning around here. The urgency, the pressure should be felt by management, by ownership. I keep using this phrase, but it's so appropriate I can't let it go when this comes up. This was a gift that fell from the figurative sky, from the baseball gods, to a franchise that did not deserve it. And they have no earthly idea what to do with it. And this, my friends, you hear me point fingers at Cherington, at Derek Shelton, at different people in operations. This one goes right to Bob Nutting. This one goes right to the very top, because he's the one that has to understand what this gift is, what the responsibility is that comes with it, and he's the one that has to set the direction and the tone for how to make the most of that. He, so far, since Skenes was basically team property from the moment they won that lottery, he's adjusted nothing. He's changed nothing. Skenes is just another dude who passed through the system, just another face in the clubhouse. And that's not okay. Look around the sports world at what teams do when they get someone like this, not just in Major League Baseball. Everything has to change. All of the scripts get flipped. I probably shouldn't do comparisons between teams that either do or don't have salary caps in their leagues. But I remember vividly when the Penguins won the lottery to get Sidney Crosby, how they'd been in the process of rebuilding and they had these exciting young players and they had a baby-faced Marc-Andre Fleury in goal and they'd already drafted Evgeny Malkin and everything was about the youngsters. And then the lottery ball comes up with the Pittsburgh logo on it. And ownership, which conveniently at the time happened to directly involve one of their better players, said, that's it. You got to get serious right away. And they went out and they spent money on free agents. They got veteran wingers to surround Sid. They built up a supporting cast right away. Look, the Penguins knew they weren't going to win a Stanley Cup in Sid's rookie year, but they knew it would benefit him if he and they were competitive, were performing together at a high level right away. That's not what these guys are doing at all. Skenes is just another dude. To them, in this context, they recognize the talent, they don't recognize the responsibility. When we come back, J1Q.
It's Gun Storage Check Week. Help prevent unwanted access to your firearms. No one wants their unsecured gun to be used in an accident, a suicide, or a crime. Use lockboxes, safes, and locks to secure your firearms. Learn more at gunstoragecheck.org. That's gunstoragecheck.org. Brought to you by NSSF, the Firearm Industry Trade Association.
Today's J1Q comes from Barry, who says, DK, has the popularity of Paul Skenes himself faded because the Pirates are so bad? Barry, you're the first one to have asked this question, and I'm a little bit surprised by that because when you see, presuming anybody actually watches these games anymore, the scenes around Skenes, you're looking at empty seats, and it's not just in Pittsburgh. And, if you go back to when Skenes first arrived, he was selling tickets not just at PNC Park, but everywhere. So what has happened, I believe, is that he's fallen off the radar because the Pirates plunged off the radar. And specifically, where it comes to our city, my feeling is that the citizens here are so upset with management, so upset with the Pirates in general, that even the sight of Skenes makes them think bad thoughts, more bad thoughts, arguably even worse thoughts about management. Because now you start thinking, why am I cheering for this guy? He's going to be gone in XX years. Or why am I cheering for this guy? He's never going to be part of anything as long as he's here. And no matter how many counter arguments you can concoct against that sort of thinking, it doesn't matter. Perception can be reality. And when it comes to the consumer, it is reality. You can tell people, hey, listen, they did sign Brian Reynolds and Brian Hayes and Mitch Keller, other guys to long-term deals before that. And there's no doubt in my mind that they could financially handle what it would take to extend Skenes into at least a couple of his free agent years. Big parentheses here, presuming he or his agents would want to do that, end parentheses. But nobody wants to hear it. They invested, the people here, into this team, and by that I mean emotionally in addition to financially, over this summer. And Ben Cherington, more than anybody else, told them all, I couldn't care less what you invested. It wasn't important to me. It wasn't important to my analytics staff. We didn't think anything would come of this season, and therefore we weren't about to put anything into it. Just as you heard me single out Bob Nutting in the opening segment, on this count, I will always single out Cherington. This was his call to punt on 2024. And it was made, strangely enough, all the way back to last winter. And one only needs to look at the caliber of the signings that he brought in to realize that. Not the dollars, the caliber. They didn't go get Rowdy Tellez because he was the cheapest. They got Tellez because he was the guy the analytics people circled at the very outset of free agency. He was their prime target. I am not guessing at that. But they let it all go up in flames. So now, yeah, whereas even 6, 7, 8 weeks ago, people were scouring for Skenes tickets on the secondary market. Now you can just walk right up to the ticket window 15 minutes before first pitch and get yourself a really, really nice up-close view. Why? Because they're the Pirates, that's why. I appreciate the question, Barry. I appreciate everybody who listens to Daily Shot of Pirates, and we will have another one tomorrow.